Okay, it's time to assess how you're doing with everything that I've laid out in this blog to date. It's almost the end of Q1 2018, and I've been taking you through a lot of great material to move you forward in all areas of your life. So get out a piece of paper and get ready to rate yourself on a scale of 0 to 10, where 0 is there is nothing going on at all in this area of my life, and 10 is I'm a rock star and completely fulfilled in this area of my life. All right, got that? So keep this piece of paper in a safe place because we're going to pull it out down the road and reassess your progress in each area. I'm going to cover the 7 main goal areas that I've talked about in the past, and some of those areas have sub areas. So when we're complete, you will have made 17 self-assessments. Ready? Let's go. All right, area number 1 is your beingness. Talked about this a bunch. And this area has 4 sub areas. Number 1, your body. Number 2, your mind. Number 3, your spirit. And number 4, your emotions. So give yourself 4 self-assessments on those areas of your being. And how are you feeling about your body on a scale of 0 to 10? Does it need some work? Is it in shape? What's going on there? Number 2, your mind. Are you learning everything that you want to learn? Is your mind being expanded by the things that you're engaging in, or are you brain dead and not doing anything to expand your learning and knowingness? Number 3, your spirit. How are you feeling about your spiritual life? And I'm not necessarily talking about religion because some people get that confused. I'm talking about your relationship to your soul, to your spirit, and your creator. And number 4, your emotions. We've talked a lot about blockers to your success, and one of the things that can be a blocker to your success, in addition to the stories that you're telling yourself in your mind, is your emotions. So are there some unresolved emotions that need to be dealt with to help you move forward more swiftly towards where you want to go? All right, let's move on to area number 2, your relationships. And this area has 5 sub areas. So I'm going to continue my numbering from 1 to 17. So number 5, what is your relationship like with your significant other, if you have one? If you don't have one and you want one, how you doing with that? Number 6, what's your relationship like with your family members? Is it all joyful, or is there some friction there that needs to be resolved? Number 7, how are you doing in the area of friendships? Do you have good, solid friends? We talked last week about one of the key successes in life is to stay in touch with your closest friends. How are you doing on that? Are you a 10 or a 0? And then how are you doing in relationship to your community? Rate yourself on how well of a community citizen you think you are. Are you contributing to make your community a better place? Or are you just kind of a bystander watching things go by? And area number 9, or assessment number 9, is what's your relationship like with the world in general? Do you see yourself as a global citizen, or are you acting parochially in your own self-interest? So rate yourself on those 5 areas. And let's move on to major area number 3. Your vocation, career, or even your mission in life. How you doing on that? Are you happy to get after it every day? Or do you dream about a life on someday I'll? That term was, I first heard that by Dennis Waitley, I believe, many, many years ago. He talked about how everybody wants to go to someday I'll. So are you living on someday I'll, or are you doing things to move forward in your career, your vocation, your mission? in life. So that's assessment number 10. Let's move on to major area number 4. And there's two sub self-assessments here. Area number 4 is your financial outcomes. So assessment number 11. How are you doing in your salary, your wages, your commissions, or if you have your own business, your revenue? Are you happy with where those numbers are at? Are you constantly thinking about, I should be getting paid more for what I'm doing? So give yourself a self-assessment there. And then number 12 self-assessment is investment performance. Both your retirement and non-retirement investments, how are those doing? Do you have all of your funds available, currently invested and working for you? Or some of it sitting on the sidelines? I know a lot of people right now are moving into cash because they're worried about a downturn in the economy. But there are places you can put your money and still be making money and still be protected from a downturn in the economy. So how you doing with that? All right, let's move on to major area number 5 and your relationship with time. And this would be self-assessment number 13. Are you taking time for taking care of yourself? And my coach likes to talk about a metaphor of when you're on the airplane and they're giving you this safety briefing. They say if the oxygen mask comes down, put it on yourself first and then put it on others around you who may be struggling to get it on. And why is that? Because you can't take care of other people if you're starving for oxygen yourself. So make sure you're taking time for yourself or choosing time for yourself to take care of yourself, to give yourself what you need. And also in relationship to time, do you have a sense of peace with it? Or are you constantly saying there's not enough of it? We all have the same amount, 24 hours a day. So it's not about the lack of time available. It's about your perception of your relationship with it. Remember, we talked a couple weeks ago about how your perception is reality. So if you don't like your relationship with time, then it's time to look at your perception of it. All right, let's move on to major area number 6. And there are 3 sub areas here that we'll assess. And area 6 is your lifestyle and your environment. And let's optimize your environment to serve you in the best way possible. So self-assessment number 14. How do you like how your current home situation is set up? Do you like the place that you live? Especially, and this is going to sound funny, but your bed, because you spend a lot of time in your bed, a good portion of your life in your bed. So if you don't have a good sleeping arrangement, do something about that. That's probably one of the top areas of quick wins that you can do if you're trying to make your life better, is get your sleeping situation optimized and you'll feel better all around. Self-assessment number 15 is your work environment. How are you feeling about where you work? Do you get lit up by your office area or however you work, or your work situation? Do you look forward to going into it? Does it build you up, make you feel better, or is it just a depressing place? Take an assessment of that. Self-assessment number 16 is just your personal belongings, the things that you have in life to make life easier, like your vehicles or your personal productivity stuff or your entertainment life. How are those things doing in your area, in your life? Give yourself a number from 0 to 10 on that. And last but not least, major area number 7 is contribution. How are you giving to others? And you may have heard in regard to giving away things that you have. There's three major areas: time, treasure, and talent. So take a look at that and assess yourself on an area of 0 to 10 in terms of your contribution. Are you giving enough away to others in terms of your time or your talents or your treasure? If you want a really simple way to rate yourself, kind of the gold standard for giving away your treasure is 10% of everything you make. So if you look at what you make, are you giving 10% away or only 1% away? If you're only giving 1% away, give yourself a 1 on this self-assessment or whatever you feel is appropriate for how you're feeling about your contribution to others. Okay, so how did the numbers add up for you? At this point, you should have 17 self-assessments. So add up your numbers and divide by 17 to get an average self-assessment score on our scale of 0 to 10. Then note today's date next to your score, so when you retake this assessment in the future, you can see how far you've progressed. If you're lower than you want to be in certain areas, did you set goals to improve those areas back when we talked about goals in January? If not, what are you waiting for? Right now, write down what you're going to do to improve in each of the areas you're not happy with on this self-assessment and get going on your action plan. Have a great week.